This is my mock interview reflection video. Um, I had a mock interview for medical school with Megan Kropfelder at um, on October 14th, sorry, 2021. To get some of the more practical things away, I showed up on time in appropriate dress, um, brought my resume, brought everything I needed to, and I was respectful to the staff member, and overall engaged in the whole conversation. I maintained a good level of eye contact. I had good posture, good hand movement, not too much, not too little, just a little bit to engage. I was enthusiastic and had loud, clear speech without too many interrupting the flow of the interview. I think in terms of how I feel about the interview, I definitely started fumbling a little bit once I kind of started telling my answering some of the questions. I definitely had a much longer response that I needed to, and for another time, for another interview, I should probably, I will definitely practice my questions in multiple times in such a way that I know how to tell a story, short but detailed, and get to the point. I did emphasize the qualifications and my experience to why I should be admitted to medical school, and I think I showed that pretty well. I will, however, say that I should specify more once it comes to my strengths and attributes. And kind of just be more stern, more confident in my response regarding that, because it's going to reflect well on the interview itself. I did have good knowledge of what it takes to go to medical school and what it requires. Sometimes I should have stayed more on track when using cause, circumstance, action, and result. I did stray away a little bit from what we were talking about, from the formula, and looking back on that, I can definitely see I should be more strict in order to keep a fast but fluid flow in my speech. In terms of my questions, I should have prepared more questions, and I should have prepared more specific questions. I had a fairly vague question, and next time I'm doing an interview such as this, I would definitely do a little bit more research about the specific university I would be interviewing for, and try to ask them some questions about some specific programs that they highlight at that medical school. In terms of my resume, I found that I had a lot of wasted space, not wasted space, but wasted sentences, wasted words, wasted things on my resume, I had a high school education where like once you have an undergrad, you shouldn't, you don't need to put your high school education. I had some older jobs like being a paper boy or being a service employee that is not necessarily that relevant for my future in the medical industry. And I had a profile on my resume, which is not always necessary, and sometimes just clutter up the page for what information is really important. In terms of my skills, instead of skills, I should probably be more about like what I have done as what I'm accredited in, or what kind of programs or things I've completed, or what I have done to kind of showcase my skills, rather than just listing attributes. Lastly, the references should be on a separate page, and have titles attached to them to let the interviewer know what company and what position they had within that company, to kind of like give some credibility to the people I'm referencing. And that is it for my interview reflection video.